Hey there, it's Olivia-Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and I'm starting a reading vlog as part of my 2025 TBR challenge. So at the moment I am currently doing this vlog for our second stage, which is I like big books and I cannot lie.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
And for that I'm going to be reading one hefty big book, and that is Butter by Asako Yuzuki and translated by Polly Barton. This is a big boy that clocks in at over, oh, it's not even 500 pages actually, it's 450 pages. I consider any book that's over 400 pages a big book, so it still clocks in as a big book on my TBR. It's translated fiction. I've really been in the mood for that lately. This will be my third translated fiction book I read this month if I finish it, or specifically Japanese translated fiction is what I'm reading at the moment. And this one is about a journalist. She is trying to make her way in the journalistic world, and she's just trying to get some very good cases, and there's one case in particular that she's interested in, and it's this woman who used to date rich business guys, cook exquisite meals for them, and then is accused of murdering them after that. And she is in prison, and this woman won't talk to any journalists, but when our particular journalist, when Rika sends her a message and says, please can I talk to you, I'm very particularly interested in your recipes, Manako, I think that's her name, yes, Manako, who is in the prison, says, sure, you seem different and I'm only willing to talk to you about food. So that is the plot of this book. And I've heard so many different things, so many people love it, so many people say it's boring, and I'm here to find out my own 2 cents by reading it in this vlog. I'm also going to make this a food and reading vlog, so I was planning to cook meals that include a lot of butter, because you can't just like eat different types of butter. Well, you can, but I'm not going to do that. So I was going to cook different meals that have butter included, but I might also try and cook some of the meals that are mentioned in this. It depends on how plant-based friendly they are. I know butter's not a plant-based friendly thing, but other than if they have lots of meat in them, I'm just not going to make them because I cook mostly plant-based here at home. So I'm just going to see what happens. So far I've read chapter 1, which is 34 pages long, so not that long, we're just getting started, and I like it so far. I like the writing style, I like that it got right into it and is just describing food so beautifully. I think it's really nice we've got someone who really loves food in Manako, but then Rika just doesn't really care, so she sees it as fuel for her body, and you can start to see her fall in love with good taste. So that's what I got from the first chapter, which I really like. The writing style, and I'm a fan of the characterization so far. I also just think it's very intriguing. The plot is intriguing and I want to know where it's gonna go. That said, chapter 1 already included a recipe, and it's a very basic one, so we're gonna make it for lunch today. I'm about to clock on for work, but after that we're gonna make it for lunch today, and that is rice with soy sauce and butter melting over it. I'm a big fan of rice. I don't put butter in my rice though. So that will actually be not a first for me, because I'm sure I've had it at somebody else's house or the recipe, but it'll be my first time putting butter in my rice for myself. So let's see how that goes, and I'll also show you which butter we're going to be working with, because it is a plant-based butter for that meal in particular, because I haven't done any shopping to prepare for this vlog. Okay, hi. So if you can hear anything bubbling away in the background, that is the rice that is bubbling away right next to me. I don't have a rice cooker because I am very particular about my rice. I like it to be a certain moisture, I like it to be done a certain way. I'm very particular about my rice. Rice is one of my favorite things to eat, so I just like to cook it myself rather than letting the rice cooker do it. Maybe that'll change in the future, maybe it won't. Fun fact about me is that rice was one of the foods that I could not get right in the beginning. Every time I made rice at home, I would burn the pan. My parents didn't let me clean up the pan. My dad scraped endless pots of me burning rice until one day it just clicked and I got it and I could make it perfectly every single time. And I appreciate my mom for teaching me how to make it, and my dad's endless patience in cleaning out all of those pots while I got it right. And it served me well, because to this day rice is one of the things that I just cook endlessly. I adore it, every form of rice, fried rice, boiled rice, just all the rice. So let me tell you what butter we have here. So the butter I have is, I can't believe it's not butter, which is actually not butter. My vegan friend was very surprised to find out that it's actually not butter. That's why it's in the title. This is vegan butter, and it's the best vegan butter out there. It tastes so good that you can't tell that it's vegan butter. This is not an advertisement, but I just really love this butter, and so that is the butter that I'm going to be using in the rice that I'm making for this book dish. And I think Manako would be like, absolutely not, you can't have vegan butter, that's a disgrace, but whatever, we're gonna do it anyway. The rice is ready, let's make this. Okay, so here we have our rice with a bit of butter in it. I don't know what this is going to taste like. I'm going to mix that butter in. Monaco in the book says, make sure you have a spoonful before the butter is all melted in. So let me do that. Let's give it a try. It doesn't say how much butter is too much or too little. I'd put a bit less, personally. I need to think about this in detail. That's why I just keep eating spoonfuls while I'm trying to taste it. So in the book, Manako is very specific. She says, have some while the butter is not fully melted in. I disagree. My first spoonfuls, where I could still clearly taste that there's a layer of butter on it, it's too buttery for me. I can't believe it's not butter. It's probably too good at being not butter that it tastes extra buttery. So I didn't really like that because it just felt like tasting like soy rice with butter on it. But once the butter's all melted in like it is now, it tastes pretty good. I don't think it tastes that much different. It just tastes a bit sweeter as soy rice, so it doesn't taste that much different, but it just tastes really nice. I could imagine doing it, but I don't want to add butter to my rice every single time, so it's not going to be my new go-to or anything, but I actually do think it's nice. All right, let's get back to reading. Ingredients! Tons of ingredients. I have talked to you about how I've been making everything with vegan butter, but before the last thing we're going to bake for this thing, I need to actually stick to the recipe, which I hate doing. It's because I've been baking, and so I've had to get real unsalted butter. Also for this sauce, we are a Oatly house. We drink oat milk all the time, but for cheese sauce, it's when I get in like real milk, because unfortunately I do not know how to make a vegan cheese sauce. I wish I did, but I do not. So what am I thinking of butter so far in the last few pages? So in the last few pages, we've actually come across the fact that these characters are taking a stand. I actually really like that friendship is such a key theme in this book. I didn't expect it. I did know that it was going to be about women, about women's relationships, so I should have presumed that it might also be like about women's friendships. And I appreciate that this friendship is taking a forefront, but also there's just so much in here about the way that women are treated by men, the way that women treat each other because of the perceptive gaze of men on them at all times, and a lot about growing up with trauma. And I'm just so impressed with how thoroughly this book is in unpacking its themes and delving into that, but also never quite forgetting the fact that this is set in Japan, and so everything is quite Japan focused in how it's facing those themes, deconstructing them and thinking about them. And there's a lot of mental analysis happening, like the character is doing what the character is doing, but she's really thinking about why she is doing everything that she's doing, which I, as someone who really likes to learn about people and think about people and their relationships, I'm really eating up and enjoying. So it's feeding me a lot, but in terms of plot, it's still quite slow moving. And I have, hold please. That can simmer away while I get the flour. Flour. Nope, not this one. This one. So I have yammered away about how I think this one is not actually focused that much on the crime element to it and the murder element, but it started to pick that up a little bit more now, and I like the balance. I like that that's not what this is really about, but it's kind of got to be what it's about as well. So I think the plot is doing that balance really well. The writing is still engaging, and I've read how many pages? 300 pages of this book, and I thought because it's such a big book, at some point I'm bound to get bored, but I'm not bored yet, and I've only got 100 pages left to go, so I really predict that depending on how this ends, it's going to be a solid 4-star rating for me, and I'm going to really enjoy it. And now I'm going to tell you about what our plan of action is. So once I've made this lasagna and we have consumed it, I am going to now choose a cup of tea from our tea calendar, because what we do here is we read books. And we eat food, clearly, and we drink tea. So I'm going to choose a tea from the tea advent calendar, and I'm going to drink tea, read the last couple of pages, and then we're going to finish this vlog by making the most complex recipe yet, which is a buttery lemon drizzle cake. Like, butter is key element in the title. It's going to make it all soft and gooey and delicious and lemony. Oh, I'm so excited. I love lemon drizzle. And then we will wrap up while I bake that with my final thoughts. So let us pull a tea from the tea advent calendar. We're working hard, but we are not quite there yet. Oh my gosh, we're on 13. That's not good. Oh my gosh, this is gonna take us forever. Yes, 13 is the next one that we need. So let's open it up. Oh, it's a quote by Bernard Paul Thoreau. There is no trouble so great or grave that cannot be much diminished by a nice cup of tea. I was so excited for my tea. Oh, it's going to be disgusting. Okay, so the tea I've got is licorice and peppermint tea. If you've been on this channel for a while, you'll have seen my reactions every single time I've had a licorice tea. So I just have not liked any of the licorice teas. I love a peppermint tea, but I do not want to have licorice in my peppermint tea. So what's special about this tea? Well, licorice for a start. Oh, which has been used for centuries in traditional Chinese medicine, it can stay in the medicine, is hugely popular with the Dutch. This is true. I rescind my Dutch affiliations. And tastes so much better with peppermint than sherbet dips, which is why we've blended pure licorice root with whole peppermint leaves to create a naturally sweet and refreshing, and probably nasty, drink that is irresistibly Moorish, if I say so myself. All right, Louise. Louise even signed that off with her name. She was so confident. Naturally caffeine free, which is nice. Right, well, I'll drink that. You can watch me probably gag, and then we'll bake and come back. Thank you for joining me for this segment. I have made the dreaded tea, so let's try it. I've made it in one of my smaller mugs because I presume I'm going to take one sip and tip this down the sink. So let's try it. Oh gosh. Okay, that's it. One sip. That was enough. That was as bad as I thought it was going to be. Oh gosh, it's worse than I thought it was going to be. I hope you got some enjoyment out of this. Oh, that's disgusting. It doesn't even taste like peppermint tea. It tastes like licorice through and through. And now I've got the licorice aftertaste. So I'm going to eat an oatmeal and raisin biscuit to get rid of that taste. That is just as terrible as I presumed. Lovely! Hello, it's finally hot and sunny here in the UK, which is so nice. It feels like spring and summer is on its way. And I also have some lemon cake that I made, the sticky buttery lemon cake as promised. This didn't look so beautiful when it was a whole cake, but it tastes lovely. I've already tasted it. We're gonna do a little taste test together. And so I just took a piece because, you know, the thing about baking is you know exactly what goes into it when you bake it. So that's what that is, but let's try it. It's so sticky, by the way. Sticky, but absolutely delicious and so sweet. Really delicious. I just love lemon cake flavors. Delicious. And also because this is supposed to be a buttery lemon cake, I can definitely taste those buttery lemon cake flavors in there. Most importantly, with my other hand, I did not touch the cake because that's covered in sticky gooey lemon stuff. I finished reading Butter by Asako Yuzuki and I really enjoyed this. I do think really don't go into it for the murder mystery elements at all because you do not get a resolution for that. So be prepared for it to be an open-ended thing. This is more so a thematic book that's going to take you on a journey, that's going to make you think about things and make you think about the culture in particular. I really like the ending. The ending scene is based around a particular food, which I found quite hilarious for it to be the ending food because I don't think that food is the most yummy food ever. I think it's actually quite dry, but I can see how in Japan it'd be considered a delicacy and a rare find. So I was giggling about how delicious they were saying the last food item was and I was like, actually I just think that's okay. And I do also like how this one ended with a specific focus on a certain groups of people, and I can't really tell you anything because I don't want to give you spoilers, but the group of people that it focuses on the end, those kind of storylines being the main things, always make my heart so happy because I believe those relationships are really important and sometimes very undervalued. So I enjoyed who was there in that final scene. I also think you need to remember when you're reading this book, like think in context, because I know that us here in the UK, in the US, while we're still absolutely not there on our journey, we have discussed feminism a lot, we have discussed sexism, we have discussed body shaming and body positivity. We are talking about these topics all the time. And yes, it's an uphill journey, an uphill climb, but we are making movers and shakers. But that does not mean that in every single culture we are at that point. And so when reading this book, I urge you to remember that this is Japanese translated fiction and that in Japanese culture, some of these topics that it's covering are quite taboo and aren't really discussed in the way that Asako Yuzuki is discussing them. And that's what makes this book so groundbreaking to me, is thinking about it within its context especially. I'm like, wow, she was really out here ready to unpick things, ready to do a mover and a shaker. So all in all, I think Butter is well worth your time. It is long. I do think at the start of those last 100 pages I was like, how much longer is it going to be? But then I was quite satisfied with where the ending ended up. A good read, a very good read. I'm so glad I finally got around to this one. Thank you so much for watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comment section down below what is your favourite recipe to make that has a lot of butter in it, or your favourite food to eat where butter is a key ingredient. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!